Welcome to the Graduate School Preparation presentation brought to you by one of your ASAP leaders. Me, Vanessa. I recently graduated this past fall with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and also got accepted into Baruch's Master of Science in Industrial Psychology. Now let's get started. Wanting to further your education is a big step that can be daunting at first. This presentation will ease you through the process. I was never really thinking about graduate school. The thought itself used to give me anxiety. I only started taking it seriously when one of my professors took an hour out of his class time to speak about graduate school and his experience. This conversation was eye opening. He talked to us about the GRE exam he took, different programs and hybrids, and the interviews he had to go on. His lecture on graduate school did scare me a bit, but also inspired me to want to pursue something more. One of my biggest words of advice is to not only take, but reach out for every opportunity given to you. You can learn so much when working alongside other people who are currently in their careers and fields. This presentation is made up of four different parts. The thinking stage, where we talk about how you could find out whether graduate school is the right step for you. The research stage comes next, where we begin to look into different programs and what the career opportunities are. After research, we begin to start setting up a checklist to finally be able to take action and begin and complete the application. First, let's dive into the thinking stage. In all honesty, this is a step that I took the most time in. I was speaking to several different people, trying to gain new perspectives, and doing that did take some time. But the information that I gained was incredibly insightful. You could always begin by speaking to the career specialist and ASAP/ACE advisor. My ASAP/ACE advisor was a really big help to me. At the time, I had an idea of what I wanted to achieve, but wasn't certain about what I needed to do in order to achieve my goals. My advisor helped me find the programs that would best suit my goals, and they even went above and beyond by taking the time to help me research other programs. I would also recommend participating in research opportunities, especially since programs tend to look at that experience. Your research opportunities could also be a good talking point in your personal statement. Looking at job applications and internships is also really helpful. Here you can get hands-on experience within the field you're interested in, as well as being able to see whether this career path is the perfect suit for you. You can look at job openings on LinkedIn, Handshake, and Indeed. Speaking to a professor is something that I can't stress enough. Please understand that professors are people who are accomplished in their field. They have already gone through and completed their graduate school programs. They can help you craft your personal statements, even write recommendation letters for you. You can also hear about different job opportunities through them. Once you have an idea of what your career goals are, you can dive deeper and begin your research. You can start by participating in information sessions. The CUNY Graduate Center has a vast amount of info sessions. You can find them by using this link. They have sessions that only focus on humanities, while others are more centered, for example, only speaking on the neuroscience master's program. Now, here are some questions to keep in mind. What type of program are you looking for? Are you thinking of a master's, PhD, or joint? Joint programs allow you to seamlessly earn a master's degree and then a PhD, which helps you save time. Because these programs help you save time, they are sought out for and incredibly competitive. You have to think about and plan out specific requirements, like specialized GRE exams or assessments. Having a high GPA and a heavy resume is always a plus for these programs. Another thing to look into is how they fit into your work or internships. Often graduate classes start pretty late in the afternoon to accommodate those who work in the mornings. I believe they start around 6 o'clock and typically end around 9 p.m. You can always double check by looking at the website or by sending an email to the admissions office. This also ties into time and location. Think about your commute time and whether it's possible for you to attend class in a timely manner. Next, think about financial cost. Are you thinking about public or private? How many schools are you applying to? Are these requiring any application fees? For example, Baruch asks for a $75 application fee, while Brooklyn College does not. Research these costs and find out what is most effective for you. Here is the information page for the Master of Science in Industrial/Organizational Psychology from Baruch's Weissman School of Science and Arts. Here on this page, you can find a summary of the program and the career outcomes of their graduates. Make sure to read everything on this page, since it could be incredibly useful when applying for the program and writing your personal statement. Take notes. This is going to be incredibly useful when setting up your checklist. You should look at the curriculum. For example, this program allows you to opt out of the thesis requirement. Is that something you're interested in or thinking about? If you're interested in pursuing a PhD, a thesis is one of those requirements to hand in. Also, make sure to look at the classes. and find out whether you're truly interested in them. You're going to be spending the next possibly 2 years engaging in these classes. So it's best to make sure that you're fully interested and invested in them. As stated before, we know that every program often asks for different requirements. Here we can see an example of that. A Master's of Science degree in Financial Engineering requires you to have 3 letters of recommendation and an assessment. Also take note of the dates. Industrial Psychology has one concrete date, while Financial Engineering has rounds. Make sure to keep note of those dates in order to ensure you get your applications completed in a timely manner. Now let's set up our checklist. Most graduate schools ask for personal statements of purpose. These essays are typically no longer than 3 pages. This may vary, so please make sure to read up on those requirements. These essays may vary on what they're asking for too, but typically they ask why you're interested in the program and why it's important for you to take it. Next, be sure to include certain tests or assessments. How many letters of recommendation are they asking for? Research and clinical hours are also really important, as some require it. Next, take a look at your GPA. Now, if your GPA is not as high as you need it to be, don't be discouraged. My biggest word of advice is to call the admissions office and ask if they have any options. Sometimes they may ask you to write another essay or to retake a certain course before you begin. Make sure to speak to them in order to garner intel. Now transcripts. Some schools require you to send in official transcripts. You can send official transcripts online via Parchment. Look up Parchment in your email, find a link, and sign up. I sent in my unofficial transcripts first, and then sent in my official transcripts via Parchment to the admissions office provided email. Now, here's an example of a checklist I created using this information. I wrote down the campus, their deadlines, their departmental supplements, personal statement prompts, etc. You can also include more, and if I'm looking back, I wish I did. I definitely would have added the cost of the application fees and the summary of the program. This checklist was a lifesaver for me. It helped me keep track of what I needed to complete and made applying less stressful. It was my clear roadmap. Now we're up to completion. Now this might be something that you may want to rush, but don't. Make sure that everything is as perfect as it can be. Have someone else look over your application to ensure that everything is correct. Ask your professor or advisor to read over your essay and other supplements like a resume. Ask them what you can improve on. Next, make sure that all the required supplements are handed in. Check and verify whether all the letters of recommendation are handed in a timely manner and if your GRE exams went through. If you're having any issues, send an email to the admission office. Next, double check your information. Make sure that everything's up to date. My last word of advice is to not send in the application on the due date. I would recommend sending it in about 3 to 7 days in advance. This gives you more legroom to fix any issues that may arrive. Now let's end up with a bit of a funny story. So while I was applying for all the different schools, I wasn't fully aware of the locations. So for example, one of the schools I was looking into was Lehman, and I'm from Brooklyn, so traveling to Lehman would have been nearly impossible for me. And I say that because Lehman is about 2 hours away on train from where I live. So imagine trying to fit that into my schedule. It just really wasn't going to work. So please make sure you understand where your schools are and you're putting that into your application. Don't make the same little silly mistake that I did. Now, here's some resources to look at. Click on these links to find information sessions, the checklist I used, and the exam links. Thank you for attending this mini information session. I hope this helped ease your mind and potentially inspired you to want to pursue graduate school. I know that it can be daunting, but doing some research and creating a checklist was something that I personally enjoyed. It opened my eyes to a lot of different careers. I hope you feel the same way when traversing through different graduate program websites. Good luck on your graduate experiences. And thank you for attending this information session. Have a nice day.